Bridget Helms, Executive Director at Miller Center for Social Entrepreneurship. And I'm here with Manoj Sinha, who's the CEO of Husk Power Systems. Manoj is here as part of a series of videos that we're creating around Impact Pioneers to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Miller Center, itself a pioneer in the social enterprise space. Manoj is a very important member of the Miller Center extended team. He's been engaged with us for more than 10 years. He's also forms part of our Social Enterprise Advisory Council, and just the other day won one of our very first prizes for impact excellence as a superstar social entrepreneur. So Manoj, thanks so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Bridget. Thank you for having me here.
It's real great to have you. My first question is, what was Miller Center like when you first encountered it?
So I'm one of the founders of Husk Power Systems, a company that I started in 2008 in my home state in India, which had a lot of access to electricity problem. So it was a new kind of business or system that we were trying to build. We were trying to create a category that did not exist. So we didn't really know what we were doing. So when we came to Miller Center back then, first time in 2009, it was to really understand how do you create something from nothing as a pioneer and try to then come up with a business model that can, one, be commercially viable, and two, because it is commercially viable, you can take it to scale. So we came from a position of we don't know anything. So equip us with the right set of tools, thinking, and ability to ask question or question ourselves so that we can take it to some finish line.
What was Miller Center like in that first engagement?
The first one that I came to the program was in 2009, and it was, I think, a 2 weeks in residence program. So it was quite intense. We had day-long activities. But what was really helpful was our interaction that we had with mentors. Not just two mentors that I was assigned with, which were Brad Matson and Jose Flohawks, but also some of the things that other mentors were able to bring to the table. And those were quite transformational to the extent that Brad Matson now is the chairman of our board for the last 8 years now, and he has been my mentor for the last 14 years now.
Wow.
So it's the kind of relationship that we built during the program that kept evolving. He has helped me and the company not just to grow the business, but helped me as a person to grow as a leader. And it's very rare to get both kind of help when you're trying to build the company, which is a pioneer in the sector, and you are trying to build yourself because you just finished an MBA, you're clueless about how to run a company, to build as a leader, to be able to grow the company.
Can you expand a little bit on, was there a kind of an aha moment that you had at some point during the program?
So I attended this program twice. I cannot get enough of Miller Center. So I came back in 2013 for this a different kind of program that Miller Center was running back then. And incidentally, at that point of time, the company was going through a very rough patch. We were almost going to go under. And we are really grateful that Miller Center was ready and willing to accept a company that may go down. That itself is a very big validation of the value that you bring. You are not abandoning a company just because it is going through a terrible patch, which I think a lot of companies go through, especially when you are a pioneer in the sector. Now coming back here, it was an intense 1-week program, I think at that time, again in residence. And my mentors at the time were Dennis Lenihan and Jeff Miller. And they really helped me figure out what is the underlying problem in the business model. But the aha moment really was 3 of us came together and figured out, hey, these are the 2 or 3 problems that you have, needs to be solved if you want to, one, survive, and then take it to the next level that you want it to. So aha moment for us was really figuring out what are the underlying problems.
Right.
And identification of that may seem trivial, but it is not trivial at all, because we did that for 4 or 5 years and got to that stage. And once we had that, then we got into the solution phase, which is, I think, much easier to do. finding the real underlying problem was the toughest part, and I'm very grateful that the Miller Center as well as Jeff and Dennis took a lot of time with me to figure that out.
Oh, that's so cool. I think it was Albert Einstein that said something about getting to the right problem or the right question is sort of 90% of getting you to the answer, right? And that kind of root cause analysis is really
absolutely
really
and
important.
Root causing is not trivial, I can tell you.
It's hard. Yeah.
Very hard.
Yeah. This year we are, as I mentioned, celebrating our 25th anniversary. And the founders of Miller Center, I'm never tired of learning more about how prescient and how forward-looking they were, right? Real pioneers. So what would be your advice to Miller Center to continue to blaze a trail as pioneers in the social enterprise and impact investing space for the next 25 years?
So a few things that are really differentiators for the Miller Center. One is this mentorship that is incredible, both because the quality of mentors is very high, but what will you do with the quality if the mentors are not willing to meet you where you are at and be able to advise you to fix or address the issues that you are facing? Right? So it's not just the quality, but being able to meet at a point and build that rapport and chemistry to be able to get to the problems, get to the solution phase. And that's what I was alluding to earlier with Jeff and Dennis, helping me identify the problem. Sure, they are Silicon Valley stars, but it doesn't help me if I cannot find the problem statement that I have. So that, I think, should continue to evolve in a way and shape that becomes even better. Second, as a social entrepreneur, what I have faced is the capital markets that are available and open to us for fundraising is typically, the ecosystem is there now. It was not there back in 2009, 2010. But the gap is that the capital takes time to come in. Call it inefficiency of the system, call it to assess the risk, it takes longer time. And Miller Center can really fill that gap by providing that bridge capital or catalytic capital so that social entrepreneurs, they're already solving a pretty big and challenging problem. At least they can have that reprieve of 6 months, 12 months, 24 months so that they can actually get to the finish line of raising external capital. So that's the gap that I have personally seen, and I have raised 3 rounds of money from commercial providers. Even then we face that problem. So that would be quite catalytic for Miller Center to bring that to the offering that it already has. Third would be, and I don't know, I'm talking more from the perspective of 2013, so I don't know if that has already changed substantially. We face a lot of similar challenges, like capital markets that I talked about is one, but also other challenges. People problem when you're trying to serve in rural areas, bringing leadership in the rural areas. These are common problems that we face across geographies. And yes, mentors do help, but it would be great to have that bonding among entrepreneurs so that we can help each other. We can be on your phone call away. Even if somebody wanted to complain about the board meeting that they just had, they were not happy. Because we don't get to complain to anybody.
That's right. Yeah, it's lonely at the top, right?
So that would be, those are 3 concrete things that I would think Miller Center is already doing and can further
improve even more, can further improve. Oh, that sounds really good. Thank you. That's great advice.
Thank you.
We're calling this series Impact Pioneer. We've identified you as an impact pioneer, and I'd like just to hear your reflections. What does being an impact pioneer mean to you?
I will start it with very hard, very challenging, but incredibly fulfilling. And this is a story from 2008 Feb. I think it was our second mini grid that I was part of installing. We connected like a handful of households, maybe a dozen. So it is 7 p.m. and we thought, okay, let's flip the switch and let's see if actually the houses are getting power or not. And we were just walking around the village and we saw actually a dozen houses powered, and we entered one of those houses and we were asking this gentleman, he was probably in his 60s, he literally had tears in his eyes. And his statement was, hey, we got independence, India got independence in 1947. Back then it was, I think, 65 or 67 years since independence. and we never had access to power. You guys brought us a real independence when this power came to my house, and I saw it was planted, but his kid was actually studying. That was probably planted. But that's the kind of, I cannot describe that feeling, but those are the experience that we get in terms of impact that keeps us going.
Manoj, thank you so much.
Thank you
For being with us here today. Really appreciate it, and all the best to you in your future endeavors.
I need all of those lucks, so thank you.